Disabled people make up 24% of the population, however, models with visible disabilities feature in 0.02% of fashion campaigns. Is disability representation an area of concern? According to Rogers, 2023 models with visible disabilities feature in 0.02% of fashion campaigns. This statistic demonstrates that the amount of disabled people featured in fashion campaigns is disproportionate to the disabled population, proving to be an inaccurate representation of society. Therefore, it validates the idea that disabled people are underrepresented within the fashion industry. Furthermore, disabled individuals echo this sentiment, because 96% of disabled individuals do not feel sufficiently represented, and 75% feel that their needs are not being met by the fashion industry. As a result, the underrepresentation of disability in the fashion industry is an area of concern. Systemic and ideological problems both contribute to physical and attitudinal barriers, obstructing disability representation and inclusion. Below are key issues contributing to the hindering of disability inclusion in the fashion industry. People with disabilities are still the largest and most underrepresented minority group in the media and fashion industries. Key issues: ableism, disability left out of the diversity debate, lack of investment, knowledge, and commitment to inclusivity, designers not designing for disabled people. Disability inclusion is unfamiliar, and brands are scared of tokenism and doing the wrong thing, fear of getting it wrong. People feeling unsafe to identify as disabled. Inaccessible studios. Brands see diversity inclusion as a financial risk. Disability is the last diverse characteristic brands think of when trying to be inclusive. Summary. There are a variety of issues that have resulted in a lack of disability representation and inclusion within the fashion industry. These can be split into attitudinal barriers and physical barriers. Attitudinal barriers such as negative stereotypes that perpetuate discrimination and a lack of knowledge about disability can create awareness of brands representing and including disability. However, even if the fashion industry is open to disability inclusion, physical barriers can still make this difficult. For example, there is a lack of accessible studios. Therefore, if a disabled model is hired, finding a studio which can cater to their required needs is difficult. According to Sinead Burke, exclusion of disabled people is inevitable when locations are inaccessible. This can discourage companies from hiring disabled models. Another problem is the issue that the majority of designers are not designing for disabled people. Garments that are not designed for disabled people may feel awkwardly on the body, or else produce a silhouette that is less flattering for some than others. Consequently, the fashion industry prioritizes aesthetics and style, so individuals who are disabled may be overlooked purely because of how the garments fit. As a result, there needs to be different solutions addressed to the different types of problems. Why does accurate representation matter? It's great to have better representation and authentic stories, because visual culture has a huge influence over how we perceive the world and public behavior. Accurate representation within the media is important, because the media is significant in influencing and shaping public's opinions, as well as establishing societal norms. Previously, when disability has been represented, the characters are either portrayed as villains or people of pity. In addition, according to Foster, when people with disabilities are represented, they are treated as supporting material to bolster the image of someone without disability. As a result, this appears to perpetuate stereotypes of disabled people as others and alienates them in society. Furthermore, these stereotypes perhaps also create an unconscious bias and a subtle ableist attitude. Therefore, authentic and accurate representation is vital in breaking down inaccurate stereotypes and changing how people without disabilities treat disabled people.